Good morning and welcome to another day of a year of miracles. And today we're on A Course in Miracles workbook lesson 356. So I'm going to dive right into this today. Today's lesson is this: sickness is but another name for sin. Healing is but another name for God. The miracle is thus the call to Him. Father, you promised you would never fail to answer any call your Son might make to you. It does not matter where He is, what seems to be His problem, nor what He believes He has become. He is your Son, and you will answer Him. The miracle reflects your love, and thus it answers Him. Your name replaces every thought of sin, and who is sinless cannot suffer pain. Your name gives answer to your Son, because to call your name is but to call His own. And that's it. That's our lesson for this morning. So let's break this down. Sickness is but another name for missing the mark, right? Which is what sin is. So when you're in that place of believing you are sick, you've simply missed the mark, right? Healing is but another name for love, which is another name for God. And the miracle is the call to love, or that one mind of God that we all share, right? So in this lesson, again, it's just another remembrance of the truth of who you are. And also a remembrance that words are but symbols of symbols. So if we can get past the words and into the meaning behind the words, we can see the message here, right? And what the message is saying is, we've forgotten who we are, so we believe that we were separate from a thing that we could never be separate from. And in that thought of separation, we believed we could also be sick, right? Because if we're not believing that we are part of that one mind of love, that one mind of God, that where there is no sickness, then the belief of being separate and vulnerable and the belief in fear has crept in. And with all of that, we have that belief of dis-ease, which is disease, right? So all of those fear thoughts start percolating and bubbling up and creating disharmony in our life, because fear is creating disharmony, dis-ease, discomfort, right? And that's all part of that thought that we could be separate from that one mind of love, which we're not. Which is why in this lesson it says, it does not matter where he is, what seems to be his problem, nor what he believes he has become, right? Because that's all part of the illusion, the belief that you could be separate from what you are. You can't be separate from what you are. It's just the thought that you are. It's a mistake. It's a mistaken thought that you could be separate from that one mind of love. And as soon as you remember, oh, I'm not this separate, small, fearful thing. I am part of that one mind of God, right? Because it says your name, the name of God, gives answer to your Son, because to call your name is but to call his own, right? Because you are not separate from God, right? And when you remember that, there is no sickness. That thought that you could be separate and small just disappears. So that's what our lesson is today. The miracle reflects your love, and thus it answers him. And that is our lesson for this beautiful day. Sickness is but another name for sin or missing the mark. Healing is but another name for God or love or source or universe. And the miracle is just the call to him, the call to remember that you are that one mind of love, that one mind of God. Just remember who you are. That's all. A Course in Miracles workbook lesson 356. So great to see all of you here this morning on this beautiful, rainy Sunday morning for us. There's a lot of rain in Florida this whole week, so we're enjoying some rainy weather. I hope you're all enjoying this beautiful Sunday morning. Thank you for joining this morning. Great to see all of you here. Hey, Barb, nice to see you this morning on the live feed. Good morning, Vera. Great to see you. Hi, honey. Good to see you watching this morning. Good morning, Mark. Nice to see you here this morning. Hey, Nell. Good to see you. Vera says, call for my son-in-law, healing of his eye injury. Call for remembering who we are. We are the one mind of love. That's right. And in remembering that, there is power, right? And in prayer, there is power. And remembering that we are all part of that one mind of God. We're all connected. That's why the power of prayer is so great, because we are connected. There's no separation. It's just a call to remember that we are part of that one mind. So thank you for sharing that this morning, Vera. Good morning, Lisa. Great to see you here this morning on the live feed. Hey, Colette. Good morning. Hey, Cheryl, nice to see you. Hi, Joanne, nice to see you this morning. Lori says, good, beautiful Sunday morning. Yes, good morning to you too. Hey, Fred, great to see you. Good morning, Randall. That's nice. Great to see you here this morning. So I hope you are all enjoying these A Course in Miracles workbook lessons on lesson 356 today. And see how that shows up for you today as you go into your day. See if you can understand that you are part of that oneness, right? The miracle is thus a call to that one mind of God. So how do we do that? We quiet our mind, right? We connect to this moment now, which is the only moment that really has any truth, any validity in it. Because if we're stuck in the past, our mind is preoccupied with past thoughts, and those don't exist. Those aren't real. They're gone. If we're stuck in the future, our mind is preoccupied with future thoughts, and those aren't real because they haven't even happened yet, right? So the only moment that is real is now. So see today if you can connect to that timeless moment of now. Fall into that gap, that place between thoughts, that place where you can experience that eternal timelessness that is the truth of who you are. Because when you connect to that timeless gap, that's where the power is. That's where the inspiration comes. That's where the truth of who you are and what you are comes shining through. So put some space into your day today. Allow some time to create that space, to get into that gap between thoughts and expand and feel how powerful you are in that place between your thoughts. In that place where we're all connected, right? Because that is where the truth of who you are can be found. I was listening to someone speak the other day, and they were talking about how life is a tapestry, right? And it's woven with all of these stories that we create about who we are and what we are, and our families and our friends and the things that have happened to us and the things we've overcome and our successes in our careers. And it's this big tapestry. And then at some moment in your life, something happens and it blows a hole in that tapestry, right? You know what I'm talking about, that moment when you sat there and said, everything I thought I was has just come crumbling to the ground, right? And maybe you've experienced that. You know, I've experienced that moment of hopelessness, that moment where you're on your knees and everything you thought is now no longer true. And you don't know what you are, and you don't know who you are. And you're afraid, right? Because everything you built your life on, everything you thought you were, has come crumbling to the ground, and you don't know where to go. You don't know where to begin again, because the thoughts you had about that life no longer exist, right? They're no longer true. But in that moment where that hole is blown through the tapestry, that is where you can see the truth of who you are and what you are. That's where the light starts to come shining through of the truth of who you are and what you are. That connection to that eternal source. And when you see that, when you finally see that, you can start building again. But the good news is you realize in that moment, you are not alone. And it's probably the first time in your life you realize you're not alone. You don't have to do this alone. And as scary and as horrible and as awful as that moment felt, losing your identity, that identity you had to that small ego self, you have gained so much more just in the recognition that you are one with something much, much bigger than you thought you were. So just embrace that today. Embrace that moment of truth. Go into that place that is the gap. Don't be afraid. You will have a lot of support there, right? Because you are that one mind of God. Embrace that, right? Choose that. And know that as you go forward, many, 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 many souls go forward with you, because you are connected now to that one mind of God that you will always be connected to, that you always were connected to. But that tapestry that you built kept you from seeing it. You couldn't see beyond the tapestry because everything you had was invested in this tapestry, this beautiful tapestry that you've been creating your whole life. Allow it to be broken open. Allow the light of the truth to come shining through so that you can start building your life on the truth of that one mind of love that you are. And then you can go forward and build that life of happiness that you can share in truth with everyone, with your brothers, with your friends, with your family, but most importantly, with yourself, right? Once you know the truth about who you are, there's no going back. There's no rebuilding that tapestry because it becomes meaningless, right? You start new and you start sharing your gifts and you start building that. And there's so much joy to be gained in that. So I wanted to share that with you this morning. Thank you, everyone, for jumping in this morning. Hey, John, great to see you here this morning. Good morning, Evan. Nice to see you here on the live feed. Good morning, Guy. So enjoy this lesson today, A Course in Miracles Workbook Lesson 356. Sickness is but another name for sin or missing the mark. Healing is but another name for God or love, right? And the miracle is thus a call to Him. So you can heal your life, even if your tapestry has been blown apart, especially if your tapestry has been blown apart, because this is where you can see the truth about who you are and what you are. And you can let go of the illusion of the life that you thought you had and you thought you were. And it's okay, because what awaits you is so much greater. All right, guys, enjoy this day. Have a beautiful Sunday. Good morning, Bonnie. Great to see you here this morning. And I will be back tomorrow morning for our next live A Course in Miracles workbook lesson. Until then, enjoy your Saturday, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you again for joining, everyone. Great to see you here in the mornings. All right, bye, guys.